Hi everyone, for today's instructive game I thought I'd show you my first game of 2012, which was an under 160 county match between Warwickshire, I think it was Warwickshire, yeah, it's Warwickshire, and Greater Manchester under 160. And I was playing a 133 ECF called Alexander Wilson, and I am 141, and arrived a few minutes late after a funny incident where the team were picking me up and I didn't know that they were waiting outside for me on a road near my house, and I didn't know it was a road near my house. So a bit of confusion there, but we got there eventually, and I was ready for my first game for about a month. He played e4, I responded with the French, and then we have the Winawer variation, and I had a feeling I'd be playing the hacker, because hackers usually play e4, d4 and knight c3. He plays e5, the main move, blocking up the centre and gaining the space advantage on the king's side. I play c5, the typical queenside counter. He collects the two bishops with the main line a3, takes. So we see bishop pair against fractured pawn structure. I play the move queen c7. So with queen g4, I'll do my opposing pawn with knight e7. He plays the positional line however with knight f3, just developing. And I play b6, which is a line where I try and get rid of the bad light square bishop as fast as possible, because that's black's problem piece in the French. He plays bishop d3, and an interesting option you could have in these positions is the move c4, which is double-edged because it gains space on queen side and deprives white's bishop of its most active square, but on the other hand it closes off the queen side, so there's less chance of opening lines up. And also then white can hack you on kingside without any counterplay from you if you're not careful, so you have to defend quite accurately. But c4, bishop e2, knight e7 and then knight f5 should be fine for black. I play bishop a6, getting rid of the bad bishop, and he just simply castles. An alternative is to take an a6, knight takes a6, so now although it looks like he's helped me develop, he's misplaced my knight quite badly. Say c4, trying to open the game up, because remember he has got a bishop against the knight. After c takes d4, c takes d5, e takes d5, castles, knight c5, queen takes d4. Chances are actually giving us about equal, even though I'd probably prefer white here, because black's got this this seems to be one with pawn weaknesses now. You know, this isolated d5 pawn, but engines seem to think that black's fine, but I wouldn't like to play this much. Instead he castles. I take off on d3 and he takes with queen, developing a fresh piece. C takes d3 is interesting, which strengthens white's centre a bit and gets rid of the double c pawns, but in return gives double d pawns, but they're harder to attack. And after knight e7 black's fine. So queen takes d3, and now I play knight c6. Possibly better was knight e7, and if a4, c4, queen e2 and then knight bc6 with equality. I play knight c6, just developing, and now he plays a typical move in this variation, because white's got an extra bishop, which is a dark squared one, so he needs to get a good diagonal for it, and the way you're activating this line is the move a4, preparing bishop a3. So the bishop is going to slice right through my queen side and king side with this move. I'm trying to provoke c4 as c takes d4, leaving it with an open diagonal, and it can implant itself on d6 as well, which is also getting a tempo on my queen, so that's a bit annoying. An alternative is d takes c5, b takes c5, now c4, trying to open lines, d4, now c3, and we have a swap, queen e4. We have an interesting dynamic position where black's actually got a passed pawn, but will it prove strong or weak is the main question. Also white has open lines for pieces. But he plays a4, and now I could have played c4, queen e2, knight g7, bishop a3, castle, and after this continuation black's got a safe king and chances to break open white's centre, but this bishop is very annoying, I must admit, and it can be quite hard to create counterplay with the pawn formation blocked up, but this was an interesting try. Instead I play knight g7, just continue development, and after the bishop comes to a3, I play knight g6. So if he takes on c5, I can take an e5, and I'll have two centre pawns against none all of a sudden, which should be better for black. An alternative was c4, followed by castles. But I didn't really look at this for some reason. I really like castling kingside much in Winawer. It seems quite easy to be hacked. by f4, f5, knight g5, queen h5, etc. So I'm not too keen on it. But with the bishop on d3, it's usually very safe to castle kingside at Winawer. But I play knight g6 instead, and now comes queen e3, which is adding more protection to e5 and attacking c5 another time. An alternative was to take on c5, allow me to take an e5, but then he has to move c takes b6, attacking my queen, and say a takes b6, knight takes, and queen g3 with a pin, but I can defend with f6, which also exposes the queen's defense of g7, and this looks quite risky for black, but I mean white seems to have the dynamic advantages with the superior development and more active pieces, but black's got long-term dynamic chances with a strong centre, 2 centre pawns against none, and pressure down the c-file against white's double pawns, so chances are about equal. So queen e3, and now I play c4 to close in the centre off. An alternative, however, was knight a5, threatening knight c4 and ridding white of his important bishop, so say knight d2 to stop that. If d takes c5, then knight c4, c takes b6, knight takes c3, b takes c7, knight takes f1, rook takes f1, rook c8, bishop d6 and king d7 is quite interesting. Another interesting alternative is knight d2, stopping the knight coming into c4, but after rook c8, again black should be fine with pressure down c-file. c4, knight d2, so he's cleared the way for the f-pawn, so he's going to play f4 and get an even stronger centre and overprotect e5. I play knight ce7, preparing to bring a knight to f5 and maybe get a kingside attack going after I castle long. f4, because remember I am playing slightly lower rated, so it'd be nice to try and win the game. So f4, gaining space, I blockade it with knight f5, and after queen e2, he's threatening g4 to kick it to an inferior square. So I play a move which is a bit like in King's Indian when you go a5 to keep a knight on c5. So I play h5, which keeps a knight on f5. I learned that idea via the King's Indian. So this is an example of applying another opening's knowledge to an opening that you play. So it is quite good to study other openings. So he plays g3 to keep his pawn structure intact, and I castle long, which is very risky actually. So I thought he hasn't really got any pieces near there. So I thought it was quite safe, but it actually isn't. I should have played maybe queen c6 is given, and then he has an interesting pawn sack with a5 takes and then bishop c5 with an unclear position. I castle long, and now he could immediately have played a5, but obviously it's very unwise to take because the b file is going to be opened up, and he's also got bishop c5 straight away. So I played b5, and again if I don't do anything, I'll go a6. So he goes a6 himself, he would do. I go queen c6, and after bishop c5, king b8. Black can objectively survive this, but it is a bit like double-edged and risky, and I haven't really got much counterplay on the king side to make up for it. So not best, perhaps. So he plays queen f2, just getting his, I'm not sure what that move is, maybe he's getting his queen to a better square, but I'm not sure what it really does there. I play knight h6, which moves another piece towards the king side, and he tries to take advantage of his last move by threatening knight g4 with tempo, but it's kind of like move the knight to an inferior square, which isn't too great. 2 seconds. So anyway, an alternative was to, if I play h4 is quite bad because it allows g4, knight h6, and I get steamrolled by f5 on king side. So in any position I can't really play h4 because of g4. Another move was a6, however, which tries to stop any attacking chances white may have on the queen side, and tries to take advantage of white not playing a5. So knight f3, a5, blocking it up after rook fb1, f6, trying to get counterplay on the king side. And white's only very slightly better, I'd say. So knight h6, and now he takes advantage of my inaccuracy with bishop d6. And I considered briefly the exchange sack, which actually comes up quite high in Houdini's choice, but it soon drops down because after rook takes d6, e takes d6, queen takes d6, I've only got 1 pawn for the exchange, and although I've got rid of white's good bishop, I've opened up the e5 square for white's knight, so it isn't too great and doesn't give enough compensation. And this is white's just in exchange for a pawn up, in my opinion. Queen c6 is a good square for queen though, because after the moves a5, b5, a6, and now h4 can be played with the knight in h6, because g4 doesn't come, well, it can just be taken by knight. Rook fb1, and now the exchange sack now, and now knight f5, threatening stuff on g3 as well as d6 does give enough compensation, I think, or gives more compensation than the other continuation. But I play queen d7, moving the queen to a dodgy square. He plays a5 now, trying to rip open lines, and after b5, we see that in my game against Judd Bennett, so please see Tim Hilton versus Judd Bennett for details, where if he doesn't do anything, I'm gonna play a6 and seal the whole queen side up, because in that game there's a point where I have to go h6 to stop him playing h6 himself, and we see that idea applied here with a6. And also, this move also means that my king hasn't got a single flight square, so if a piece lands near me, I'm doomed. So knight f5, just hurrying pieces back into the defence, and now he misses his chance, or he misses one of his chances with rook fb1, knight takes d6, e takes d6, and let's say if I take the pawn and as rook takes b5, h4, doubles, and this is much better for white. Let's go back, rook fb1, knight takes, pawn takes, say, instead of playing h4 now he goes rook a5, and I have to take it, he takes my pawn here, so after takes, we've just transposed to the other line with white having the big advantage. Well, bishop c5 is also good, it ties my queen down to a7, prepares to bully the b5 pawn off the board. And now I play the only move to stay in the game, which is king b8, which plans king a8 and rook b8. And now he misses his chance. He could have gone rook a5, king a8. Does this game actually remind you of a game which Judd Bennett by any chance, but with like, I'm defending this time. And now, the move he could have played, see if you can spot it. It's a good test for your strategy list. You play the move knight b1, which prepares to bring another piece to b5. And actually the complications all favour white after rook b8, knight a3. Now I can't defend b5 after rook b1. I can only defend it with 2 pieces and he's attacking it with 3. So queen c7 takes. And now these swaps. And white's a pawn up for nothing at all really, and my king's a bit open. And white should win this game. And that was his chance to cause him some right problems there. And create a scalp. I play rook fb1. I play king a8, only move. And now rook a5 can be answered by rook b8 safely, because you may notice now that rook b1 you can't play knight b1, and that's the only way you can attack my pawn again with knight b1 to a3. So rook fb1, a natural move, actually is a careless move that throws away white's advantage. So queen f3, so the idea is he's putting his queen on the same diagonal as my king, so maybe Saxon c4 at the right moment can expose me a bit. That was his master plan soon after the game. I played the move rook b8. And now let's have a look at some variations. First of all, in the game he fought for 16 minutes and played king f2 and offered me a draw, which of course I accepted because I'm slightly worse and I haven't really got any chances. You notice that there's not a single pawn that's been exchanged there. This is the final position, by the way. First of all, I was worried he could play knight e4, but I realised that I can just take 4 by queen d5. The sack knight takes c4 doesn't quite give white enough. After b takes c4, rook b7, I can take it. After a takes, I've got 2 options, king b8 and queen takes b7. King b8 isn't as good because after bishop takes a7, king takes b7, bishop c5, rook a, this continuation rook a8 brings an end to white's attack, but white can play queen f1, preparing to bring the queen to a2 via b1. I play queen b5, now bishop takes a7, king takes b7, now rook b1 wins the queen, so takes, king takes a7, now queen b5. And although black's up material, he can't stop it, his king's trapped in a perpetual checknet, so this would be a draw. So that'd give a draw, that, but of course I don't have to play king b8, I can play queen takes b7, after rook takes a7, queen takes, bishop takes, king takes, queen f1, the only move to retain some chances, then check. And in this position, the evaluation is 0.61 to black, which suggests that black's open king does provide some compensation, and there's good drawing chances by perpetual, but black has the winning chances here, and this isn't good for white. So knight takes c4 exclamation, well, question mark exclamation mark, was worth a look at, and that's what he's thinking at for a lot of that 16 minutes, but he's decided he's got nothing and rightly plays king f2 and offers a draw, and he has got nothing. It's practically equal this now, if not very slightly better for white. So a rather dull 25-move draw, you might say, but there was some interesting points there, and I hope you enjoyed it, and won the match in the end. And just a quick look, show you something else before we finish. The following Tuesday, I had a game against 3c3 versus Charlton 5, and there's an interesting theme where it goes d4, d5, c4, e6, this continuation. And as you may know, there's the elephant trap in this position where if I take the pawn, then we have takes, and white has to give his queen up, and now black's a knight up in an endgame. However, once I go knight f3, I think I'm threatening the pawn. He randomly goes b6 and ignores it. He should play bishop e7 or c6. It's b6, and I take. And if he forgets that the trap doesn't work now and just takes my knight, and I just take his queen, you see bishop b4 check can be answered by knight d2, and the rest is just a turkey shoot. Quickly show you it. Bit of late resigning here. He's 1-2-2 ECF as well, so you won't expect him to fall for that. See, he's finishing him off. Could have probably finished him off a bit more quicker, but I won in the end. Helped us win the match. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.